Disney stories are known for their memorable characters, enchanting music, and timeless themes of courage, friendship, and the power of imagination. Because characters are so central to their storytelling, Disney is often protective of how their characters are portrayed, forcing many companies to adhere to the canon defined in the films.
But Ravensburger's upcoming Disney card game, Lorcana, will break many beloved characters out of the mold set by their original films. To explain how, we're going to explore the mystery of Disney Lorcana's Floodborne.
Before we begin, we wanted to thank our 200 subscribers who have joined us on our Lorcana journey. If you're new to our channel and enjoy our Lorcana news and analysis, please consider hitting the subscribe button.
Just as Disney tells wonderful stories, the best card games are those that marry mechanics with flavor. Together, the rules, the flavor text, and the art work together to build a world and tell a story each and every game you play. With Lorcana, Disney and the game's developers, Ravensburger, are working together to create new stories with existing characters, and then allowing you, the player, to tell those stories through gameplay. The best example of this is the Floodborne.
In Lorcana, there are 3 Borns, at least that we know about. Storyborn seem to be characters that we know straight from the film. Dreamborn look like characters that we know but slightly altered. For example, see Captain Hook with a blade rather than a hook for a hand. And then there's Floodborn, characters that differ wildly from the source material, but we think they differ in a specific way.
For Floodborne, we know of 3: Stitch, Rockstar, Hades, King of Olympus, and Aurora, Dreaming Guardian. Obviously, all of these are new interpretations of beloved characters, but they are interpretations which share a theme. These characters are different because they have reached their full potential, overcome their greatest weakness, and consequently achieved more power than the film characters we know. And this flavor may have implications for the rules. We'll start with Stitch. In the film, Experiment 626 has one big flaw: his urge to destroy. In an effort to help him overcome his destructive nature, Lilo teaches him to dance and perform to calm his rage. But in a pivotal moment, lights and screaming fans trigger Stitch's anger, and he lashes out. In that moment, if Stitch had suppressed his rage, he would have been a star, perhaps a rock star. This Lorcana card represents a Stitch who has reached his full potential by overcoming his greatest flaw. It's a callback to that moment in the movie where he succumbed to his darkest emotions.
Hades dreams and schemes to take down Zeus and become ruler of the gods. His biggest insecurity is his subservience to his brother. His bitterness simmers under the surface of everything he does, driving him forward and leading to outbursts of anger. But what if Hades could achieve his dreams? What if he quelled his insecurities and anger by becoming what he always wanted to be, King of Olympus? This Hades has overcome his biggest obstacle to become, in his opinion, what he was always meant to be. On his throne, on Mount Olympus, this Hades has peaked.
Aurora's life was defined by a curse. Maleficent's spell compelled her parents to hide her away, leading to a childhood of isolation. But what if she learned to control the power that previously controlled her? Perhaps this Aurora overcame the curse and woke herself. Or perhaps Aurora is still sleeping, and the Dreaming Guardian is a manifestation of her dream self, tapping into the power that holds her unconscious, the power that defined her for 16 years. But whether awake or still asleep, for the first time in her life, Maleficent's magic isn't controlling Aurora, she is controlling it, with the M on her crown symbolizing her connection with Maleficent's power.
Floodborne cards have a different frame. Where Dreamborn and Storyborn characters have a clean, colored line, Floodborne have a rough, oozing black one. Ink blotches splatter above and below, and it seems like the ink color is bleeding into the box. This flood of ink across the card frame adds flavor to these cards, conveying that these Floodborne have broken free of the confines of their original stories, the same way the ink bursts across the card frame. These Floodborne don't fit into the lines of their canon stories. So we've described their flavor, but what about Floodborne gameplay?
These characters represent a progression from their original story or Dreamborn versions. As with all cards, you can play them for their cost, likely shown in the top left. But these cards have an alternate way to play them. You can play them for their shift cost, and by doing so, tell a story. A story of this character progressing, growing, and overcoming their biggest obstacles. For example, playing a Storyborn Hades early in the game, then shifting him to King of Olympus, tells a tale of him defeating his brother and achieving his dream. Storytelling in a card game at its finest.
But there's something else that makes Floodborne cards unique from their Storyborn and Dreamborn counterparts: the missing hexagon around their ink symbol. So far, Hades, Stitch, and Aurora, all the Floodborn shifters, are missing this shape. But why? We have a guess, and it relates to the rules.
Let's suppose another Stitch card with shift is introduced into the game. This creates a scenario where the same Stitch card in the table could be shifted multiple times, changing Stitch from one form to another. You play a Stitch, you shift it once, then you shift it again. This makes it possible to shift Stitch away from his Floodborn form. But here's some speculation. If you did this, it would represent a character moving backwards, a regression. But these Floodborn characters are in the final chapter of their story. Turning back the page would be moving them to the beginning or middle of their arcs, and this would be poor storytelling. We think the Floodborn have reached the end of their story arc and must stay on the battlefield to win the game or be defeated. For this reason, we think the lack of a hexagon around the ink symbol means that the character cannot be shifted. Once they reach their full Floodborn potential, they cannot shift back.
If our theory is true, all Floodborn will most likely have shift. But shifters need not be Floodborn. Nor will a character necessarily only have one Floodborn form. For example, perhaps there's another story for Hades, one in which he overcomes his rage by accepting his role as ruler of the underworld. This Hades, uncontrolled by his anger, would be a potent character, and by accepting his role, he may no longer be a villain, deviating so much from the source material that he must also be a Floodborn. Just as we all have multiple paths in life, once you unshackle a character from their original story, there are many possible endings.
Shift, Floodborn, the frame design. The mechanics and flavor work together to tell a story on the table. With the shift ability, your characters can move through their story, possibly overcoming their greatest challenges and reaching their full potential as a Floodborn, like Hades overcoming his subservience, Aurora controlling the curse, or Stitch suppressing his destructive nature. Bursting at the seams with ink, these glimmers are powerful allies ready to help you overcome your opponent or be defeated trying.
Disney is allowing Ravensburger to tell new stories with their characters because they likely understand, when it comes to games, mechanics matter most, but it's flavor and the story that make them shine.
So what do you think about Floodborne? Did we get it right? And what do you think the missing hexagon means?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing.
Also, we do have to give a shout out to Nive of Nive's Nerd Corner, a content creator who provided the foundation for this theory. He's one of our favorite creators. You should definitely go to his channel and check him out. Link below.